Hey guys, today I'm going to answer the question, when is the best time to sell your Pokemon investments? Now honestly, there's no real answer to this question, and that's because everyone is different. What I find to be the best time to sell a product can be different from you, and because we're going to have different reasonings on why we feel it's going to be best to sell at a certain price or certain time, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm going to give you guys a scenario here to display what I mean. So let's say a booster box is bought at $100. So I'm going to give you a perspective of each of these people and why they believe it's going to be best to sell at a certain price and their reasonings. So this first person here, they believe it's going to be best to sell at $200 because it's going to be a $100 profit margin and it's going to be easy to sell at this price. So they know that, if they were to hold on to this booster box longer, most likely it's going to keep going up in value, so they're going to have a bigger profit margin. However, at this price, they know it's going to be easy to sell, and they're happy with the $100 profit margin. So they're willing to give up, more of a profit margin, knowing that liquidity is not going to be a problem, and they're going to easily be able to sell the booster box at $200 because at this price, a lot of people are going to be willing to buy this booster box. But if it keeps going up in value, obviously the market for the people willing to buy the booster box is going to go down because not as many people are going to be willing to buy a more expensive booster box than maybe $200. So they're willing to just take the $100 profit per booster box and just sell it at this price. However, another person, they believe that it's going to be best to sell the booster box at $500 because a $400 profit margin is very good. Even if it's going to be harder to sell at $200, they're willing to be patient and just wait around and sell the booster box at this price, even though it's going to take longer. They want the profit margin. They want to maximize how much they can make off of each booster box, and this is just their strategy. And they think that it's still possible to sell. Obviously, they don't want to wait too much. They don't want to wait till this booster box maybe gets to $1,000 because then your market shrinks even more. But the thing at this price, this is kind of the sweet spot of maybe maximizing how much profit you can make off of each booster box while still being able to sell the booster box somewhat at an okay pace. So none of these perspectives are wrong. One is not better than the other per se, but it's kind of just what you want to do. This one first person here, obviously they're more focused on liquidity and easily being able to sell the booster box rather than, maximizing their profit margin. However, the second person here, they're more focused on the profit margin than liquidity. However, the fact is that the more expensive a product becomes, the harder it is to sell. That's a fact. But like I said, not one of these are wrong or right, but that is a factor that you have to consider when you're deciding on when to sell a product. But what you decide to do is up to yourself and how you believe the product will perform in the future. So, do you think the best time to sell the product is later in the future because you think the product is going to keep rising in value? Or do you think, now is the best time to sell the product because, the product is just going to plateau? And do you think Pokemon is still going to be popular in the future? If you don't think this, then obviously you'd be probably selling a lot of your products now. But if you think Pokemon is going to be as popular as it is now or gain popularity in the future, you're probably going to want to hold onto your products, and maybe now is not the best time to sell. So like I said, there's no best time to sell. It kind of depends on you. But when you decide it is the best time to sell for yourself, I want to go over some exit strategies here with you. Now, these are all exit strategies you guys may have heard of. I just kind of named them myself. I mean, they're all pretty self-explanatory, but I want to go over the pros and cons to each of these. So the first one being sell out all at once, pretty self-explanatory. Sell half, keep half. Sell slowly over time. So first, let's go over sell all at once. Now, first of all, I'm just going to say I do not recommend this strategy at all unless, you have a couple of these things going on in your life. One being that, you just don't like Pokemon anymore. You just want to get out of the hobby quickly. You don't really, care about, the profits you can make in the future. You just maybe think, I don't know, Pokemon is not going to be popular in the future. You just want to get out the hobby. You just sell all at once. I mean, if you don't like Pokemon anymore or whatever, that's perfectly fine. Another reason why is that you just need the cash. If you need to sell all your, investments or whatever right now because you just have something more important in your life, I mean, you have to do what you have to do. So those are only reasons why, or only ways I'd actually recommend this strategy. But other than that, if you believe in Pokemon in the future and you plan, on staying in the hobby, I wouldn't recommend the strategy at all. And I'll tell you why. But first, let's go over the pros and I'll talk about the cons. So the pros is that when you sell at once, you're going to have the most cash in hand, obviously, because you're selling everything. Either everything of one single product or all of your investments, you're going to have the most cash because you're selling everything. Another pro is that you're going to have no products on hand. And obviously, that can be a con, but a pro to this could be that, there's no uncertain future. If you're happy with the profits you got from selling it all at once, you don't have to worry about anything in the future. You don't have to worry about it going down in value. You don't have to worry about the popularity of a product or whatever. You don't have to worry about anything because it's all out of your hands. So you're happy with what you got. That's great. However, like I said, I don't really recommend this strategy the most because it's pretty risky, because it's a good chance you're not maximizing your profits, because the box is most likely, especially booster boxes, are most likely to continue to rise in value. And I'll actually share a personal story that, a personal thing that I had with the strategy where, I actually, saw the cons with, the strategy. So I made a video about this a long time ago, but I'll just share with you guys in this video because I want to give you guys an example of why the strategy, I don't recommend it, because I faced the cons myself. So I had Evolving Skies booster boxes at one point. I bought them on average for $130. So at the time I sold these booster boxes, the value was around $220. I sold them each at $200, so I was like a $70 profit margin per booster box, which is great. However, the only reason why I actually sold them at the time, it wasn't for the money, to be honest. It was because I was anticipating a reprint. That reprint really never came. The booster boxes continued to rise in price, and I never decided to buy back into them because I already sold all of them. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy them for more than I paid, and I just sold them. So it's like, why would I do that, right? I kept waiting for a reprint, never happened. So that's a perfect example of why it's so risky. Because look at the prices of Evolving Skies booster boxes now. They're like $700. So I obviously missed out on a lot of profit, which is why I do not recommend this strategy. But if you're going to anticipate or try to time a reprint, or you think a reprint is going to happen based on news, this is a strategy I would recommend. Sell half, keep half. And this is kind of the only like, I guess, time I'd actually recommend the strategy is if you're actually deciding or thinking that a reprint is going to happen. So the pros of this strategy is that you lower the risk of lost profits. So obviously, if you were to sell all at once, you're going to obviously have a lot of risk of losing a lot of profits. But selling half, keep half, if you sell half, if the product goes down, obviously it was better that you sold half and didn't just, keep all of it. But if the product goes up, you sold half, you probably should have kept all of it, but you still have half. So you kind of get a kind of an average if something goes down or something goes up. So you kind of mitigate some risk there. And it's kind of the best of both worlds, because you're going to have some products still on hand and you're going to have some cash that you can use for something else. However, the cons to this is just like the first one, where you might not be maximizing your profits because you sold half, but you still have half left. So it's kind of like a middle ground. But like I said, I would really only recommend this strategy if you're anticipating a reprint to happen, because if that reprint never comes, then at least you still have half of your product. But if the reprint does come, you were able to secure some profits, and the box of the box price or whatever the product is obviously probably going to decrease depending obviously on the side of reprints and all this other stuff. But yeah. Next is the last strategy. This is the strategy I'd honestly recommend for most people, and what I honestly plan on doing is sell slowly over time. Now, it can be any set period of time. It can be whatever you want to do, kind of, but you just sell slowly over time. You don't sell all at once. You kind of just sell some here and there. It could be a set period of time or whenever you feel like it, but just selling slowly over time. And the reason why I would recommend this strategy is just because you get an average of the profits. Now, like I said before, for the most part, especially booster boxes, as history has shown, booster boxes just continue to rise over time. However, who knows what's going to happen in the future. Maybe Pokemon is not as popular. Maybe some of these boxes or some of these products, whatever, just decrease over time. But, if they continue to go up or down, whatever, you're getting an average. So you don't really have to worry about, if a product is going to, go down or up a lot. You're going to get an average. So it's just very safe to do this. A con can obviously be, you're not maximizing your profits. Let's say, a product or a box continues just to decrease. You should just sell it all at once, or just just to be able to make the most money if it's going to go down in value over time. But obviously no one knows this, which is why the strategy is so good, because you get an average. So if everything continues to go up, you're not losing all your money or all your profits by just selling all at once up front. But obviously the same could be said, if the product goes down. But I would just recommend the strategy for the most part, just because of the fact that for the like I said, most of these products, especially booster boxes, have been shown that they just continue to go up. So if you want to just slowly, capture some of your profits while still, increasing your profit margins on each of your products, this is the strategy I would 100% recommend, which I plan on doing myself. So thanks for watching this video. This is the end. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next one.